This is Jenny Bell from Clarington, Ohio, and I'm listening to Barbecue Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important to the world of barbecue and grilling. This show originates from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evenings, a live fire fun and frivolity show. If you would like to get in contact with the show this evening, or you would like to follow the show during off-show hours, here's how you do all that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening on the show this evening. Coming up in about 12 minutes from now, it has been a long time since we've had him on this show. It is long overdue. It is my fault, and he's one of the best guys, period, in human life, but especially in the live fire industry. The creator of the Empire GQUE BBQ out of Colorado, Jason Ganahl, making his triumphant return to the show. We will roll with Jason, 18, 19 minutes, get a catch-up, talk barbecue, talk expansion of restaurants, talk about the ice cream side project, which has also grown into its own kind of empire. So looking forward to speaking with Jason shortly. It is long overdue. Then, notwithstanding that, we have a new 2026 Barbecue Hall of Famer. We have what some would label a master distiller, and we have what many amongst all of us truly consider to be one of the best pit masters around, out of Nashville, Tennessee, Carey Bringle Peg Leg Porker. So we have 3 topics to hit with Carey. I am very worried because he is on the short side segment of an hour that we're not going to have nearly enough time to get through it. We will lead, and while I don't usually like to unveil the outline of a particular guest, we will obviously start with Barbecue Hall of Fame talk that will graduate into the promotion that he is running as we approach July 4th with his newly-ish released bourbon. It is called... Oh, I forgot to bring the bottle down, too. Very unprofessional of me. It is called the Spirit of America Kentucky Bourbon. No, Tennessee Bourbon. Sorry. Tennessee Bourbon. So we'll talk about that particular bourbon because he makes a number of them now, and they're all award-winning. They're highly decorated, all the stuff that you would hope that you can accomplish as a potential master blender on top of being a pit master. We'll We'll talk about the hope of July 4th and what it means to him and what he's hoping to have everybody do at 7:06 p.m., depending on where you are in this great land of ours. And as time permits, which I'm sure there will be none left, we will talk about current barbecue restaurant pitfalls, hurdles, and wins. Carey Bringle, brand new Barbecue Hall of Famer. That will round out the first hour. And then, if that isn't good enough, it is the fourth Tuesday of a month. By the way, bonus week. Next Tuesday, we have none other than the embedded correspondence. And once again, over the weekend, I stared at a blank slate of 100% assurity statements. And sure enough, within 15 minutes, I had 748 different assurity statements and think, oh my God, we have too many. We went from I don't have enough and how are we going to do it to I have way too many. How are we going to get through it? But that's what we do each and every month with the embedded correspondence. So that's how the show is laying out here this evening. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, LinkedIn, all with the handle at BBQ Central Show. Of course, we say good evening to those of you watching tonight through one of the video streaming platforms of Facebook or YouTube. Facebook can be found at .com/BBQ Central Show. YouTube can be found at @BBQ Central Show. We do have a new YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. And it goes a little something like this. Would you rather be in shape and have a great bod, but an ugly face, or would you rather have a gorgeous face, but be fat? Currently, 67% of you are saying you would rather be fat. Really? 67% of you would rather be gorgeous in the face, but fat. I'm shocked. I thought this would be a 100% butterface situation. I mean, don't we all want to be lean and mean and muscular, sacrifice the face? I mean, we've all heard the expression before. Butterface, everything is great. Butterface, but your face, whatever, but his face. You name it. We've said it. You want to live it. But it seems more than half of you would rather be fat. But really good looking. Love the mindset there, gang. Well, if you didn't hear about it,
A Barbecue Central Show exclusive news
not
update.
really exclusive, but it is Greg Rempe reporting from the breaking news desk here in Cleveland, Ohio, where we break the most live-fire breaking news across the country, nay, the globe. And I am reporting directly from this desk and going to foodnetwork.com. If you haven't seen it, all over social media, puking up out of all of the contestants and judges' social media profiles. Gang, we have a new barbecue TV show coming out. It is strong, it is long, it is King Kong, baby. Starting Monday, July 13th, 3 days after the best day every year, July 10th, at 9 Central, that would be 9 Eastern, 8 Central. The name of the show, Pitmasters, is a brand new barbecue competition that will pit, no pun intended, 9 two-person teams against each other in an open flame showdown judged by 11 legendary panel, including Andrew Zimmern, who was on this show recently and gave me this compliment after I asked him a question.
That's one of the most intelligent questions anybody has ever asked me.
And that did happen on my show. Also, Mo Kason is a judge, and we know Mo, multiple-time guest on the show. Of course, 2-time guest and the current #1 Texas Monthly barbecue restaurant, Ernest Cervantes of Burnt Bean. Oh, did I mention longtime quarterly guest, gal pal of mine, Jess Pryles, who once said on this show, and I quote,
Great. I don't give a fuck.
and that was her saying that on this show. All guests on this show happen to be judges on the new Food Network show. So from breaking down a whole hog to cooking and serving for essential barbecue proteins on non-stop rolling schedule, only the most creative and persistent pitmaster will survive and earn a cash money prize of $50,000. Can I get a oh yeah?
Hey, everybody, can I trouble you for a oh yeah?
Oh yeah, Maggie. I'm tuning in. I can't wait. They've pumped me up. Gork Boys is going to be on there as competitors. Asal Ramos, Jeremy Yoder, and Al Fragoni, both guests on this show. Joe Jackson and Connie D'Souza. Leslie Rourke, Jacob Scott, Leslie, guest on this show. Chris Williams and Frank Miller. How about Susie Bullock, quarterly guest on this show. Christy Vanover, who is in charge of the Barbecue World Cup. How about that? How about Reginald Jacob and Denzel Johnson? How about that? The list goes on. You just need to know at 9 p.m. Eastern or wherever the hell you're at across this great land and globe. You're tuning in to the Food Network for what is being hailed as the next barbecue pit. Not all those abortions that claimed to be the next barbecue pit. This one is really going to do it, right? We shall see. I'm just happy that I've had all of the judges on this show at some point in time over the last 20 years. All right, we got Jason Ganahl ready to go in the green room. Before we get to him, we'll talk about Primo cookers. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that you can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. We love that you can achieve those really high grilling temperatures for steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday ceramic liner cookup? The real ability to do true two-zone cooking, because it's hard to do when it's round. Enter Primo and their game-changing oval design. The shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone setup that you really want, also giving you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. And when you break it down, there's more than 60 different ways to cook on this bad boy. Only sold through dealers. Visit them in person. Go to primogrill.com to find a dealer locator, and then head off, feel the ovals, buy the one that best fits your needs, and away you go. All the accessories you want, so don't even sleep on that shit. primogrill.com. Won't you give them a follow on the Facebooks and the Instagrams? They would love it. I would love it. Follow me too. I don't post anything ever, but follow me. Once I get to 8,000 followers, I'm going to be posting once a month. Guaranteed. Jason Ganahl is next. Stand by.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. My first guest this evening. Successful restaurant owner, successful ice cream shop owner, legendary competitive barbecue cook, and if you're in the Denver area, has routinely been listed as the best barbecue joint in the area. I'm embarrassed to say it has been 8 years since his last appearance. That's on me. That's a me problem. But tonight, he makes his triumphant return back to the show. Perhaps, without question, the most handsome man in the barbecue biz today, and it's not even close. Our friend and owner of GQUE BBQ, Jason Ganahl, is back. Jay, what up?
Hey, Rippy, thanks for having me on. It's been 2 World Cups since the last time I've been on.
I don't know.
And I agree, that's way too long.
Too long. I don't know what a World Cup is, but I assume that's 4 years times 2, so 8 is too long. But before we get going, we do, and you're going to have to play, like you got to take yourself out of your actual physical being, because this obviously doesn't apply to you because you're both. However, we have a YouTube poll question of the week that we're asking everybody, including all guests. Jason, would you rather be in shape and have a great body but an ugly face, or have a gorgeous face but be fat?
How many drinks in am I?
Well, that's the problem. You're like totally ripped and you're handsome, so it makes it all the worse for you here.
Yeah. Well, I am 50 now, and so I do spend some time trying to see how to best spend how much time I have left on Earth. And a lot of what I read tells you muscle mass is going to make your life more efficient and easier to do all the things you want to do as you get older. So I will unequivocally, easily, no debate, final answer, take the ugly mug and the strong, ripped body.
All right. So Jason,
is that the correct answer?
Ugly but muscular. And according to the YouTube voting public, Jason, I can't believe it, 56% of them want to be fat and gorgeous. I mean, leave it to barbecue people. I mean, they're already fat anyway. They're like, hey, I'll stay fat, but I can also be hot. And somehow they're going to work around that. Who knows? I'm with you. I would much rather be muscular and ugly. I kind of am there already. And maybe I can just be a little bit more muscular. So thank you for your input on that.
Butterfaces all day.
Butterface, absolutely. Butterface, perhaps with a mixture of summer teeth, because summer teeth go this way and summer teeth go that way. Long time, my friend. So we started... You came on the show when it was just Jason Ganahl, pitmaster of GQUE BBQ, running the KCBS circuit, experiencing quite a bit of success. And somehow that parlayed itself into Jason getting into a singular barbecue restaurant. We had you on the show and we talked about, is that a good idea? You talked about how you maxed out all your credit cards and you withdrew all your 401k savings. You sold 3 kids and did whatever you could do to get that singular barbecue restaurant off the ground. What has happened since?
How much time we got?
18 minutes. Let's go.
18 minutes. Well, let's talk right now. Well, lots happened since then, Greg. We've expanded from just one restaurant. Let me first of all tell you, you got me through those competition days. Every Tuesday night, Tuesday was my trim night. I would trim chicken. I would trim ribs. I would get all my prep work done, make my injections, make my sauces on Tuesday night. And having your voice in the background was like listening to Jack Buck back in St. Louis, doing the Cardinals back in the day.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for all of that back then. But since then, I got my 3 kids back, which is fantastic.
Right.
Added another one for a total of 4. So that's nice. I have actually a grandkid on the way. Got a bun in the oven. So that's coming down the pipe here in the next, 7 months or so. I had one request. I bought a timeshare 20 years ago. My wife and I have been married for about 18 and we were dating at the time and we vacationed down to Cabo. And I have a hard time after about 3 or 4 days. I like to move around, do some things. I just can't sit on a beach for 7 days in a row. So we go down to Cabo, we hang out there for 2 or 3 days, and then I'm starting to get the itch. I got to get up and move around. And I see all these guys doing these timeshare presentations, and they're like, "Hey, free dinner, $400, jet skis." So I go on like 4 or 5 of these timeshare presentations. And by the end of the 5th one, I feel a little bit like an expert. It's the last day, and we ran out of all of our meal vouchers. We'd played golf. We'd done jet skis. We'd done a lot of really cool things. And so I said, "Hey, Eddie, this guy's doing some happy hour." I don't know exactly what he was giving away. He was giving away something. "Do you want to do that on our last date?" She goes, "Absolutely." So I go on I see the cat walking in the background. So I go on the timeshare presentation, and I've got perspective now. And I'm sitting there. I'm like, "Holy cow, this is actually a really good deal."
Oh, no.
So I ended up I bought that timeshare there. And so for the last 18 years, I've been going to Cabo the 5th week of every single year.
Wow.
And since then, we've made some great friends. They go down there the 5th week of every year, all across the United States, and we meet there. I call it the fastest week of the year, 7 days in Cabo. So when we found out that we were going to have a grandbaby here coming up really soon, I told Tori, our oldest, I said, great, any week but the week we go to Cabo. You're not going to believe this, but guess when she's due?
The week you go to Cabo.
The week we go to Cabo. That was the only week. That was the only week she was not allowed to have the baby. So I'm hoping it comes early. And Heidi mentioned to me that if the baby comes a week or two before a week, we're still not going. I'm like, what are you talking about? We're not going. We've had the baby.
baby's going to be there for the rest of its life, for crying out loud.
It will be there when we come back. So we need to take a YouTube poll on that next week. Is if the baby comes 1 week before we go to Cabo, is it okay to go to Cabo? I say yes to
2 days before the trip is okay to go to Cabo. What are you talking about? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not there yet. I have daughters that have serious boyfriends. They're all, a couple of them are, 22, 24. So we're kind of bridging into that type of area. When you're told, hey, Dad, you're going to be a grandpa, however they told you, secretly, man to man here, does that force you unknowingly to take a quick relook at life, question of mortality, grandpa? That's a whole different level of classification.
It is. I haven't even given it any thought yet. Maybe when the baby is born and I hold it, maybe that will change, because that's what changed for me with the birth of the first kid. When I held the kid, not so much the idea of having the kid, but it's a life-changing experience. As you know, when you're in that room and the kid comes out and you're like, holy cow, what did I just get myself into? And you're holding the baby for the first time. So I haven't, I got a lot of things going on. I haven't really given it thought right now, but yes, the whole mortality thing, I have given that a lot of thought. When my mom passed away about 5 or 6 years ago, and that was something I really wrestled around with for a long time. But it'll be very interesting to see what comes. I'm super excited. The great thing about grandkids is, you can take them when they're angels and you can give them back when they're devils. Unlike when they're yours, you got to keep them all the time, right?
Yes. No
so
doubt.
I'm excited. We're all excited. We're pumped, and hopefully it's the first of many.
So let's circle back to the burgeoning, at that point, barbecue empire that you were working through. So you've established location number one. How quickly were you looking to get into a second location? Or were you ever looking to get into a second location?
I had not considered doing a second location. In fact, my first pit was an Old Hickory ELED. It's the long rectangular one. All of our pits are the ELEDXs, and then it's the rectangular one was, I think it's the SEX or SE, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. And that was in there, and I thought that was the only pit I would ever need. And I thought we were all set. We got the big Old Hickory. We're all good. And then, you hear people say it, you just keep going. You just keep going. I like solving problems, and new problems came up, and I like new challenges and new problems, and one thing led to another. There was a good opportunity, and so we took it and just keep doing new ones after that.
What are you evaluating on that new location? Is it cost of rent? Is it actual location with how much foot traffic can show up here? Is there demand for barbecue? I would like to say anywhere you go, you build a barbecue restaurant and people will come. However, I've seen a flood of barbecue restaurants hit Cleveland on and off for the last 20 years, basically. And the good ones, which are very few, stick. The other ones are here and they're gone just as quickly. And I wonder, what are you thinking? You see the vast majority fall on their face inside of a year. Why are you bringing that here? What are you looking at from a benchmark of success?
For
second location
choice, for the first location, which is something close to my house and that I can afford, and it has almost all the hallmarks of everything you would not look for in a restaurant. The second location, Greg, has every single hallmark that you would not look for in a second location, and I had no clue. I was totally ignorant about all of that kind of stuff. The reason why I chose the second one is because the landlord gave me, he paid for everything for me to move in there. So all I had to buy was the FF&E. The landlord, it sits on a property that does about $100 million in food sales, and all of those places have non-competes. So if there's a chicken place in there, you can't bring another chicken place in there. So one of the very few pieces of the puzzle that remained was barbecue. And so they offered, and we were having a ton of success up north in North Denver, and they offered to pay for everything for us to be a part of that. And I took it, but there's no visibility, there's no parking. It's a pain in the butt to get to. When the weather's bad, nobody shows up there. Oh. In fact, that's what led to the ice cream. There's more components to it, but that building or that area had been there for about 25 years, and where the ice cream was, it was completely undeveloped. And the landlord's like, you guys want to take this because nobody wants this. It's so bad. We can't get anybody to pay us for it at all. We'll just give it to you since you're going to go next door. And I had to pay the rent on it and all that, but I didn't have to pay a lot of the other stuff to turn it into an ice cream shop. They were willing to do all that. So that's why I did it. But exactly what you just described, like nobody came. I have very vivid memories. Well, what's funny is there's a lot of retail right around there. And so on Saturday and Sunday, we did a friends and family where we just went out and told all of our friends, told all of our family, told all of our team members to invite all of their friends and family. And I went around to all the retail and told everybody, hey, come on in, barbecue, it's free, it's on me. So we were packed Saturday and Sunday. And I thought this was going to be great. I'm like, this is going to be wonderful. This is going to be great. And then Monday, when people had to pay for it, it was crickets. There was nobody in there. And I thought, oh, it's just Monday. Everybody's working. Nobody's going to come in. Tuesday, the exact same. And I have a very vivid memory of it being Thursday night. And it's 6:15, 6:30 at night, like right in the peak of a dinner rush. And we had 2 tables. And the rent here was twice as expensive as my first location. And it was a little bit higher too, because they paid for me to get in there. And I thought at that moment, I'm like, holy crap, this is the worst decision I've ever probably made in my professional life. And then it just went right back into startup mode, all the same things that made Westminster successful, because up there, like I said, we had a little bit of parking, but we had no visibility. It's one of those places that every 2 years, whatever's in there goes right out. It was a pizza place and it was a deli shop. I don't even know what it was before the deli shop. But there's a little bit of grit and a little bit of tenacity and some scrappiness that, you just get a commitment to just getting a little bit better every single day. And then you can start seeing some success and word of mouth, and things just start building after that.
One of my buddies out on the West Coast, Sean Walchef from GQUE BBQ, seems to have really found a way to finagle the local news. Is that something that you also tried to utilize in order to get word of mouth and eyeballs on the place? Yeah,
so we were on the news a lot. I don't think those appearances has a big of a difference now as they did maybe 10, 11, 12 years ago. And it's probably different in every market. But here in Denver, became pretty good friends with one of the morning hosts. And she came and did a live segment, and she had an hour-long show. So she came and did a live segment and then put it on our social medias. And our business was so bad in the very beginning that gave us a nice bump. Yeah. So we noticed a good 15, 20% bump from her appearance there. But I think over the last probably 6 or 7 years, I don't see anything. I'll get occasional texts if we go on there. Hey, I saw you talking about turkey or something like that. But I don't see it translate into business.
So you had kind of dovetailed into it a little bit. Was you had some open space next to the location you were at, and you guys decide you're going to open an ice cream shop?
Yeah. So, a lot of friends in the barbecue world, and talked to a ton of people, getting a lot of just advice, the mistakes, what they would do different, and all of that kind of stuff. And a lot of people said, don't ever open up a second location. That's the best way to torpedo your first location. You dilute yourself, and barbecue's hard to keep it great. Yep. And so you think of a lot of those iconic brands and a lot of those iconic places, they only have one location. So I had that in my head, and I used ice cream as kind of an insurance policy against mediocre barbecue. I thought, well, if the barbecue does dilute itself down, and maybe the barbecue is good, but it's not excellent. If we serve excellent ice cream, then that'll get people in. And that was my plan. And that was why I opened up ice cream. And also when I competed, my fiercest competitor out here in the Rocky Mountain Barbecue Association was Burnin' Bob's Butts and Bones, Bob Oldfeld and Donna Oldfeld. He's a retired United Airlines mechanic. And him and I would just go back and forth at all these contests. It was awesome. We were great friends and great competitors. And his wife, Donna, after the contest would pass out ice cream bars to everybody and go around. So I've always associated barbecue and ice cream. To me, they just kind of go hand in hand. So the combination of the memories that Bob and Donna created for me and the insurance policy against mediocre barbecue is why I started the ice cream farm.
Is there more GP and ice cream than barbecue?
No, I joke around, Nick Saban, I know you know who Nick Saban is, sure. Or maybe it was Nick Saban. I've heard this quote bastardized, and it's been assigned to several different people. I've seen it assigned to Steve Jobs. I've seen it assigned to Nick Saban too. And I don't know who is actually responsible for it, but they say, if you want to make everybody happy, open up an ice cream shop. And I can tell you, as an ice cream shop owner, you do still piss off people also, too, as an ice cream shop guy. So, there's the problem with ice cream is it's so seasonal. So people go in there and they're on a Saturday in the summer and they think, oh my God, this place must be great for you. But January, February, December, it's ghost town and crickets in Colorado for ice cream. So, and it's also very, out here, a lot of people do, watch what they eat. I'm from Missouri. I'm from the Midwest. It's a little bit different out there than it is here in Colorado. And ice cream is a treat that people usually reserve for the weekends. Whereas back in St. Louis, I was eating frozen custard, Ted Drew's, Dairy Queen. I would eat that all the time. And it's different. I would never suggest anybody out here go into the ice cream business out here. Go into like the smoothie business or protein shake business. You do pretty well out here, but not ice cream.
What's the next couple of years look like from a business standpoint for you?
My strategy has always been, I care about guest experience. Our mission is to give the guest the best 20 minutes of their day when they come in. So as long as we can keep doing that and we can execute on our mission and why we exist, then we're going to challenge ourselves and try to open up new restaurants and new locations. I just opened one up in Fort Collins. So we're going to do the stadium up there where Colorado State, the Rams play. So that's going to open up in the fall. And I've got one more in the works that we're going to open up in the Metro Denver area. And then we'll just reassess. We'll see how everything's going. If we're doing great, then we'll continue to build the brand out. But I've got Rimpy, when we last talked 8 years ago, I was neck deep in everything, just trying to keep my head above water and just, get a little bit better. And I've got an awesome team right now. I promoted the first manager I ever hired. He's been with me for 10 years. He just had a 10-year anniversary not too long ago, but I promoted him to president. So he's been with me along the whole thing. So he's responsible for all the day-to-day. And I don't get pulled down into a lot of the operational stuff at all. So I can just focus on 100% everything that's like forward. And he can focus on everything. I call it upstream and I call it what he does downstream. So anything that's happening every single day, he's responsible for. Whatever's going to happen in the future, that's usually what I work on.
Well, I can tell you from a firsthand account from my middle daughter, Maddie, who went to some PA health conference out in Colorado, shipped her over to your place, and she's like, wow, this place was absolutely fantastic. I got to meet Jason. He gave us these T-shirts. He was a super great guy. And to me, like, if my kid is coming home, and look, I have raised some pretty highfalutin meat snobs, and they know what's shit and they know what's good. And if my kids are coming back and saying they had a great time, then I think that really speaks volumes of the quality of food and the experience that you're putting out.
Awesome. Yeah, we do. We do a great job every single day, weekdays, weekends, day, night. We want it to be the same experience, whether you're at one of our stores that's in South Denver, one of the ones up in Fort Collins. It's hard work to be super consistent. That's the death nail of barbecue places is you can't be great one day and bad the next day. You got to be super consistent. So we now say like, okay, somebody might have the best bite out there of something else, but when you come to GQ, it's going to taste the exact same. You don't have to worry about having a bad day. And do we have a bad day? Sure, but let us know and we'll make it right. But I think we do as good a job as anybody with consistent barbecue, but also at a fair price too. You're not going to come in for us and spend $50 on one meal that you can get at some places. It's very fair. It's very reasonable, and it's going to be super consistent. And we're going to serve it to you enthusiastically and hopefully accurately also.
You're going to watch the new TV show coming out in a couple weeks?
Yeah. Is that the one you were talking about
Pit
and the lead in?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm expecting to get an invite to one of these TV shows because it sounds like this show is a launching pad to a TV career. So I'm expecting Food Network to be blowing up my phone here in the next, probably 4 to 6 months, whenever the next show comes out.
Yeah, let's hope.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But what occurred to me as you were saying that is it seems like barbecue is on TV more now than it's ever been. Outside of Pitmasters, there really wasn't a whole lot of barbecue on TV. And now you've got Barbecue Brawl, you've got that show, you've got some other kind of one-off shows here and there. But it seems like barbecue is on TV a lot, which is great. And yes, I will watch it. I watch all those shows.
Jason, appreciate the catch up. Again, this is my issue, having 8 years in between visits. That will not happen again. But always appreciate the time and continued success, my friend.
Awesome. Greg, thanks for having me on. So good talking to you. Congrats to you, and we'll see you on down the road.
All right, there he is, Jason Ganahl right there, GQUE BBQ. Also, the ice cream man. Why not? Because as he says, nothing goes better with barbecue than ice cream. I'll take his word. He's the one running the biz. Carey Bringle is in the green room. Before we get to him, we will talk to you about our pals over at Fireboard, proud sponsors of this show. The innovators behind the Fireboard 2, Fireboard Pro, Fireboard Spark, the Fireboard Beacon, and the wireless Fireboard Pulse. You can experience total control over all of your devices from anywhere in the world when you're using the Fireboard app. You can find out more by visiting the website, fireboard.com. And if you have any questions, you can call them directly at 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. And if you're lucky, Ted Conrad himself might pick up the phone and answer any and all questions. We are back with Peg Leg Porker right after this.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
We thank Jason Ganahl for joining us last segment. His website, the letter GQUE BBQ.com, GQBBQ.com. If you're in the Denver area or greater metro area, check him out. My next guest, one of the most well-known and accomplished barbecue cooks in this here country. You've probably seen or been to his restaurant if you've ever been to Nashville, Tennessee. You've seen him on TV shows, widely considered to be one of the best whole hog cooks in the country. He also continues to dominate the craft whiskey industry as well. His expressions have garnered numerous awards within the industry for their unique flavor and even more unique filtering process. Tonight, we're going to be talking about barbecue, we're going to be talking about whiskey and the restaurant business. But before any of that, we will discuss his induction into the 2026 Barbecue Hall of Fame class. We welcome back founder of Peg Leg Porker, Carey Bringle, to the show. Hey, Carey.
Hey, how you doing today, Greg?
I'm doing fabulous. Before we get going with all of that, we have a YouTube Would You Rather poll question of the week that we're going to ask you, and it goes a little something like this. Carey, would you rather be in shape and have a great body but an ugly face, or a gorgeous face but be fat?
Fat? I'd rather be fat.
Rather be fat. All right. Well, it's a split decision here on the YouTube voting public. Oh, wait, it just split. 54% of the YouTube voting public now agreeing with you. They would also rather be fat and sexy. All right. So I mentioned there just a few seconds ago in the open, towards the end there, a inductee to the 2026 class for the Barbecue Hall of Fame. What is your visibility on the Barbecue Hall of Fame prior to you getting in this year?
Well, I mean, how much did I know about it, or what is that? Yeah. Well, I mean, I've known about it, and certainly would have always hoped that I would be inducted at some point. I have a lot of friends that have been inducted, and certainly a lot of familiar faces that I've known throughout the years, and then familiar faces on the posthumous inductions. And so, it was always a goal and something that I would aspire to, and so I'm glad that that's finally happening this year.
You've achieved a number of career moments as we look back at your history. If you're taking this particular one into account, how does getting into the Barbecue Hall of Fame rank with all the other things that you've accomplished?
Well, I think that, I think it's a big one for me. I mean, and listen, there's a lot of awards and there's committees and there's a lot of lists and that all, that comes and goes. And so, we've won Southern Living's Best Barbecue for the state of Tennessee, I think 7 out of the last 10 years. And that was when we first won that was a huge accomplishment for us. Because if you grew up in the South and you're a barbecue guy and a Southerner, then Southern Living is the pinnacle. And them being named, Best Barbecue in the state of Tennessee, that was something that my family was all from Memphis, and when I grew up, we ate barbecue in Memphis. And so to have somebody from Nashville get that honor was a big deal. And then for us to get that honor so many times in the last 10 years, it was it's been a huge honor. And I get a lot of flack from Memphis about it. I got to tell you, I mean, they write about it down there. My newspaper may not write about it, but they'll write about it down in Memphis. That's for sure. And there's so many great barbecue places in the state of Tennessee that that's tough. It's a list just like anything else. Some are voted on by the fans and some are voted on by editors, and people put a lot of stock in those lists. But if you know how much great barbecue there is out there, and if you respect your peers, then you kind of look at those lists a lot of times with a grain of salt. And I won't win that forever. Other people may win it next year. They may win it for the next 5 years. But the Hall of Fame for me is something that is something that doesn't go away. They really can't take that one from you. Somebody else can be inducted, but they can't take it from you. And so it's more of a legacy thing for me than anything.
You have somebody lined up to do your intro at the ceremony?
I think Ray Lampe has volunteered to do my intro.
Oh yeah, is that good enough for you?
I really liked Ray.
Yeah.
Ray would probably tell a funny story about when I first met him years and years and years ago. We were cooking beside each other at one of the first contests that I ever did under the name Peg Leg Porker. So, it'll be an interesting one.
Do you think as you're giving your speech, you might have an emotional moment?
Oh, I'm sure I'll have an emotional moment. My family will be there with me, it'll be emotional for them, and it'll be emotional for me. It's a lifetime of work, and I think that one of the things that they choose as criteria really is because there's so many great pit masters out there doing so many great things. But I think one of the things that's important to me about this is that they look for your contribution back to other people and back into the barbecue community and through charity work and other aspects of it other than just being a great pit master.
Since you're going to be there, Carey, will you compete at the open portion of the American Royal?
I will not.
You're right there. Why not?
I didn't do, I didn't do Memphis this year. And that was the first time in 33 years I haven't cooked down there. And so, I'm as far as competing goes, I'll be honest with you. I feel like I've done it enough, and I've certainly lost enough. And I'm not that's not my best game. I'm not that. I didn't have the level of somebody like my buddy Tuffy Stone or Chris Lilly that they just they're fierce competitors, and they have always taken it a lot more serious than I have. And not that I wasn't serious about competing. There's plenty of years where I was very serious about competing, but those guys, they just had a different level of it. I was down there as much to have a good time as I was to compete. And so that will be one thing that'll be nice about the American Royal. I've never gone up there, and it'll be a great time to see a lot of friends and folks that I love and spend some quality time with them without having to try and concentrate on winning a contest.
Looking at your fellow Hall of Fame classmates, do you have any thoughts or stories that you'd care to share with us about any of them?
I think it's a good class. I met Ben Lang over the phone when I was writing my book Barbecue for Dummies. A great guy, and we featured some of his smokers and pictures of him in that. I've known Mark Lambert for a long time, and we've been friends for a long time. And I think Mark is a great guy, a great educator, and a great contributor to the barbecue community.
Maybe an underrated competition cook. I mean, he's won Memphis in May a couple times. Yeah.
Oh, Mark he's not underrated in my book.
Yeah.
Mark knows what he's doing on the competition front, and he has. I think he's taken 5 world championships at Memphis in May. So there was no underrating on my part with Mark Lambert.
Yeah.
I think he's a formidable guy and has his barbecue store business and the barbecue ministry, which he's done great things with. And he's always been a great voice for places like the MBBQA and a great teacher. Malcolm Reed, I know Malcolm in passing, but not don't know him as well as I do some of the other folks. And but I'm glad to see him. He's built such a great following, and he's had a long career of excellence and doing well with Killer Hogs and with his How to Barbecue Right. It's he's built a pretty amazing following, and that's pretty impressive.
All right, so looking forward to that whole thing happening a little bit later in the year. Changing gears a little bit, whiskey, certainly complimentary to a number of folks in our live fire community. We had talked a little bit about it the last time you were on, but for anybody new or just tuning in tonight, when did you decide to get, or when and why did you decide to get into the whiskey biz?
Yeah, I got into the bourbon business about 12 and a half years ago. It was right after I started the restaurant. And I had always had a sponsorship from Jim Beam Black for my Memphis team. And I had a great relationship with Beam and then Beam Suntory. I thought we might collaborate on something years ago, but that's just hard to materialize with a company that big. And so the guy who had gotten me into that relationship, Nick Lambert, he told me that he had run across a batch of bourbon that I would be able to buy. I could start my own label, and now's the best time to do it. Well, I just opened a restaurant 6 months earlier. It was not a good time for me, and I said, I'm out of money. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm broke, And he said, well, you got to make it happen. And I called the bank. The bank said, no, we're not doing that. And so I called a fraternity brother. And he worked for a bank, and I said, can you make this happen? And he said, I'm going to make it happen. And I bought that batch, and we bottled Peg Leg Porker White Label. It was a success. We sold it just in Tennessee. And then I developed a process after that first batch of hickory charcoal filtering, and I burnt down hickory charcoal, and then we took those coals, and I at the time, we gravity dripped that bourbon through that hickory charcoal to finish it after it was debarreled, after it comes out of the barrel and is already aged. Unlike the Lincoln County process for Tennessee whiskey, where it goes through sugar maple charcoal before it goes into the barrel. And so I developed that process. It made an even better bourbon. We started winning awards. We started to expand over the years. Up until the end of last year, we were in about 15 states. This year, we've signed on now 26. We've got a total of 26 states, and probably by the end of the year we'll be in about 36 states.
Wow.
It's just a matter of completing the paperwork and getting the stuff shipped out. But we're having great success with it right now.
Help me understand the Tennessee whiskey process is. So it's going through the charcoal first, then it's going into the barrel to age. You are debarreling and then running it through the charcoal. Why does it make a difference in your estimation to do it that way versus doing it first and then putting it in the barrel to age?
Well, with Tennessee whiskey, they put it through that sugar maple charcoal first to try and clean it up a little bit, take out some impurities, and that was a process that was developed long ago. Now, what people don't understand is I can run it through a bottle that size of sugar maple charcoal before it goes into the barrel, or I can run it through a vat as big as this room of sugar maple charcoal. It doesn't matter. It's got to touch sugar maple charcoal to be considered Tennessee whiskey.
Yep.
And so ours is a Tennessee straight bourbon. And so we don't have to go through the Lincoln County process. We can if we want to, but we don't have to. And I wanted to develop a process that gave it a barbecue flavor and taste, and something that imparted a part of our business and a part of our lifestyle without being smoky. I didn't want it to be smoked or smoky. I don't like Scotch. I can't stand Mezcal because those are distillers or brewers that really don't understand smoke and the nature of it and the pollutants that come off of it. And so they get a lot of that into that juice, which, to some people, they like it. But for me, it tastes over smoky.
Yep.
It tastes bitter and acrid. And I wanted an essence of the hickory charcoal without the smokiness. And that's what we got. And in 2023, with our white label, we won World's Best Bourbon. And we've won, I think, 4 Best in Class since then. And our 8-year-old is up. It's a finalist for Best in Class at San Francisco World Spirits this year.
Just a brain thought, like, hey, let's run it through some hickory charcoal and see what happens.
Well, yeah. I was looking for a way to differentiate it and make it and tie it to my pitmaster background and my barbecue. And I thought, and there were a lot of different things, and everybody expected me to smoke it or smoke the grains or do something. And my thought was, hey, we like clean smoke by burning down coals. So once we burn down coals, we burned off all those pollutants, and now we've got a clean hickory charcoal that's going to still have some of that flavor, but it's also going to be a filter. And so that's what I experimented with. It worked out. It tasted good, and so I stuck with it. And it's won us a lot of awards.
How many expressions do you have under Peg Leg Porker right now?
I think total we have 8 expressions. The main 2 that are out on the market are our white label and then our foolproof, which is a Tiffany blue label. We'll be releasing some other LTOs. Right now, we've got a bottle. This is it that we've done this year for America's 250, and that is our Spirit of America bourbon. And so we own the trademark on Spirit of America for bourbon and alcohol. And so we wanted to do a bottle. A lot of people are doing bottles out there, and they're slapping the 250 logo on it, and they're saying, hey, that's our tribute to America. For us, it means a little something different. It's more about living the American dream, about what is the spirit of America to everybody. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a family member or somebody that they look up to that they think that person's lived the American dream. For me, I had osteogenic sarcoma bone cancer when I was 17, and I was able to overcome that and survive that, marry my high school sweetheart, have 3 beautiful children, and then build my dream career and end up in barbecue and in bourbon, 2 things that I love. And I really have lived the American dream. And so the story of the American spirit for Peg Leg Porker is the story of my life. And everybody's got a story, and that means something different to everybody. But we didn't want to we're not just going to do the Spirit of America for America's 250. This is the first edition. We will do a Spirit of America edition bourbon every year. And that means something to us. And that's why we've got the trademark. We worked with the Action Group, who trademarked the term. They're now partners with us on sales, and it's going gangbusters.
How long's the project been in the works?
We started working on Spirit of America probably in January, so we really got it done pretty quick.
Yeah.
Mark Roberts had a great idea. We had known each other for about 11 years. He had been interested in working with us for that long. He is a broker that helped. He was one of the first to take Patron out of Texas. Not Patron, but Tito's out of Texas.
Yeah.
He was a broker for the Southeast for Patron. He helped grow Old Smoky. And he had this idea, and he brought it to me, and I loved it, and it really fit the brand. And so, we've got these now out there. You can buy them in your retail liquor stores, but one of the things we're doing with it is on July 4th at 7:06, we want everybody to raise a glass and have a toast to America.
Nice.
And, we can disagree on a lot of things. We can disagree on politics. We can disagree on religion. But one thing we can all agree on is that we can take a minute out to show some unity and have a drink together.
Yes, 100%. Now, friend of this show, Mark Gillespie of WhiskeyCast, who has been on the show a number of times, rated the Spirit of America 94 points, which coming from him, anything that gets into 90 is something that he really likes. So it beat a book or no also within that episode. That kind of speaks a lot of quality. Certainly, how good your stuff is. You have the awards to back it up, but just to continually get the reaffirmation that your product is kind of second to none has to be gratifying.
It makes you very proud. This is the first time we've done this expression. It's our first bottled in bond. It's a 4 to 6 year old that's bottled in bond, that's 100 proof. And it means a lot to us. And we've poured a lot of energy into it. I got a whole team that's poured a lot of work into it. And it makes us proud to see a score like that and to get those affirmations. It always makes you feel good.
What's bottled in bond mean?
So bottled in bond means it came from the same batch. It's the same year. It's made in a bonded facility. There used to be a lot of shadiness in the liquor business, and there wasn't much quality control when it was first came about, and when it was first in the early 20s and in the late 1800s. And so now I got a guy that runs my tasting room, Kevin, who could tell this story so much better than I can. But what it was the federal regulators would have to come in, and the master distiller would have a key, and the federal regulator would have a key where that bourbon was stored. And so it was stored in bond, and then it was bottled in bond. And so that was the first step that America took to ensure the quality of the whiskey that the citizens were drinking.
Nice.
And so that's where the term came about. It had to follow certain regulations and ensure that quality, and the federal regulators worked with the distilleries to make sure that happened.
I'm going to show you a picture of what appears to be Peg Leg Porker, Pitmaster Reserve, 15-year-old Tennessee straight bourbon. $965? Is that for real?
That is our first batch that we released, I think, about 4 or 5 years ago, and it was a banger. It's it's a commemorative bottle with a Peg Leg Pig topper on it. That bottle retailed for $400, but they've become pretty rare right now.
Yeah.
People have people who like it, they want it, or they want it for their collection. We have Pitmaster Reserve second edition out now, and it is it's a 15-year Canadian rye that's been double oaked on American white oak. And so it is a similar bottle. It's a different design on the bottle. It's got a different colored Peg Leg Pig topper. It's in a different colored case. I think I've got one behind me here. This is it. It's in a navy blue case.
Wow.
And so that's the Pitmaster. You see behind me is the black case.
Yep.
And that's the Pitmaster Reserve first edition. This is our second edition. And this edition has the bourbon market and the collection market has changed over the past 2 years. And so these bottles are harder to move. But two, a lot of people, I think, sometimes are afraid of this bottle because it's a rye, and they think, oh, I don't like a rye.
Love a rye.
It's excellent. No, it's a great rye. And we double oaked it on American white oak. It drinks like a bourbon with a little hint of spice.
Yes.
But it is just as good of a bottle as that Pitmaster Reserve first edition was. And if you want to, keep the collection going, then you need to go out and find you one. It's a great bottle as well.
Is that guy going to get $965 for that bottle, you think?
Man, I don't know. Those are second, that's some of these retailers, when they see a rare bottle, they'll mark them up real high. And then some of the secondary market prices can get crazy. I've seen them as high as $1,200.
Wow.
And, you're flattered by that. That's certainly something that you see and you go, wow, I wish I had gotten that. I wish I'd gotten the $1,200 for that bottle. I got the wholesale price. But bourbon enthusiasts are passionate like barbecue enthusiasts.
Yeah.
They'll stop at nothing to get what they want, whether it's waiting in line for an hour or waiting in line for 4 or 5 hours down in Texas. They won't do that in Tennessee. We've had barbecue for too long in Tennessee. Nobody's waiting in line 5 hours in the state of Tennessee.
Yeah.
And kudos to my brothers down in Texas that people do that. That's awesome. But bourbon enthusiasts to do the same thing. They'll camp out overnight to get these rare bottles, and it's kind of bewildering to see. But it's some people are that passionate about it, I
want to ask you before I let you go here, and appreciate the extended time. How is the barbecue restaurant business going? We hear all about it every week. We're talking about somebody going out of business, or brisket's $948 a pound these days. What's it like in Nashville, Tennessee for you?
The restaurant business in general is tough right now. It's tough with labor. It's tough with all the rising costs. Everything went up probably 35% across the board. Paper goods, plastic, everything. And that's tough. In Nashville, we've got a lot of great barbecue restaurants. My competitors, who are also good friends of mine, have built out a lot in the suburbs. And as you know, Peg Leg Porker's model is that we've got one Peg Leg Porker and that's it. In Nashville, the biggest problem right now is where so many restaurants are coming in from everywhere that we're just competing for dining dollars. It's not competing against other barbecue restaurants. It's just getting the consumer's attention, period.
You can try his barbecue in Nashville at the Singular Peg Leg Porker. You can buy his award-winning Tennessee bourbon. And you can see him here on this show occasionally as well, talking about all things barbecue. You going to be watching the TV show coming out on July 13th?
I'm sure I'll catch an episode or two. I don't. I can't. I've been on a lot, and I've done a lot of these competition shows. I'm not as into them as much. I just. Everything doesn't have to be a competition, and they just seem to want to make every show about competing against each other. I'd rather see a show that just features somebody and I can really get to know them better or see more behind the scenes of their operation than I would see them compete,
Carey, always appreciate the time. You're the best, and continued success. We'll talk again soon.
Greg, thank you so much for having me. Have a great night.
You got it. There he is, Carey Bringle right there. Came back on, closed it out strong. Of course, we love that. So, again, if you are in the market for a fantastic bourbon, he did send me a bottle as well. So I'll give that the old, what do they call that? Like they do with the wine, kind of like rinse it around. The Spirit of America, be on the lookout. I'll have you know that it is carried in my Giant Eagle liquor store. I was shocked. I took a picture. I said, hey, look what made it here to Cleveland. All right, we are 5 minutes behind. We'll play a little catch up here, so we're going to come back. We're going to do the closeout, and then we'll go quickly to top of the second hour, and then embedded correspondence after that. So let's do some logistics here. Stick around. We'll be right back.
continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
We thank Carey Bringle for joining us last segment, peglegporker.com. And if you want to find out where his bourbons are, you can also use the Google machine for that. The Spirit of America is what his newest expression is. And he's hoping that everybody on July 4th at 7:06 p.m., wherever you're at, hoist one to the great country that we live in here in America. That's going to put a wrap on the first hour. We are pointing to the second hour, an abridged one at that. You're listening and watching on the watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.